this other DVD that I brought didn't work, so I had to improvise. But hopefully you guys like that. We're putting it through film festivals this year and looking for distribution, and we'll see where it goes. But you know, ever since my injury, you know, the most frequent question I hear is, how do I keep such a positive attitude and outlook on life? And that's just something I'd like to share with you. So you can do me a favor and just close your eyes for a moment. I just want you to visualize your dreams. I want you to think about where you see yourselves maybe in a year from now. Think about where you are, what you're doing, who you're with, and whether or not all those dreams that you're thinking about are coming true. So you can open up your eyes. I've been through 3 traumatic experiences that really shaped who I am. The first one happened in October of 1995 when I was just 16 years old. I was driving up Pacific Coast Highway in California, just driving up to school one morning, and as I was going past Pepperdine University through this intersection, I was just about to go through, and this car was making a left-hand turn but didn't see me. So when they turned, they hit my driver's side door, and my car spun around, and it flipped over. At the time, I wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and I got ejected out of the driver's side window, which was actually closed at the time. I ended up landing on PCH, and luckily, you know, no cars ran me over. But as I laid on the ground, looking up at the sky, all my dreams were flashing in front of my eyes. You know, would I be that pro surfer? Would I be in that big feature film movie, graduate college, and then have that wife and kids? So I was really nervous and really scared. And I remember the ambulance came. We got to the hospital and we went through those double doors. And my dad was actually waiting there for me. And I remember just looking up at him, and I told him, I'm like, I'd rather be dead than be paralyzed and not ever be able to surf again. So the next day, luckily, I walked out of the hospital with just a torn ligament in my thumb, some cuts and bruises, and a little whiplash. But you know, I figured if I could fly out of a car going like 50 miles an hour, that I was pretty invincible. You know, nothing would ever happen to me. So I went back to school, just played baseball and soccer, and continued surfing. I never thought twice about that car accident. And then about 6 months later, a month before turning professional as a surfer, a month after my 17th birthday, I remember it was March 25th, 1996, and it was just a gorgeous day, really beautiful, and the waves were really good. Usually I surf alone, but that day I told all my friends to meet me there before school. So I got there, and I was the first one out, and caught a bunch of waves. Some of my friends started paddling out, and I remember taking off on this one wave. And just as I was going down the line, I pulled inside of the barrel, and when I came out, the wave hit me in my back. At this time, I didn't have time to put my hands up. I went head first into the shallow water and ended up hitting my head on the shallow sandbar, just a bunch of sand, and I broke my neck, and I just was tingly, and I was floating there, you know, face down in the water. All I could do was just hold my breath. And luckily, a wave turned me over, but as I was calling for help, all my friends just thought I was joking, so nobody came over to help me. Some more waves kind of took me around. And finally, my best friend came over, and I just told him, like, you got to keep my head above water, or else I'm going to drown. I kept repeating that over and over. And the next day, I remember I was on the sand, on my back, looking up at the sky, and all those same dreams were flashing in front of my eyes. And I still wanted to be that pro surfer and be in that big feature film movie, graduate college, and then have a wife and kids. So my friends called 911, and I remember the lifeguard came over and asked me if I could move. I just couldn't at all, you know. They ended up cutting off my wetsuit. I was actually more concerned. I was like, oh no, don't cut that wetsuit off. I want to keep that. I like that wetsuit. I thought I was going to start me again in a couple months. I didn't really know, but so we ended up. They took me to the parking lot. There was a helicopter waiting. And the next thing I remember, I was just in the hospital on this rotating bed, you know, with tubes coming out of my throat, my arms. And I really didn't know what to expect. And when I found out that I severed my spinal cord, that I was paralyzed, my life just kind of stopped at that moment. I had to figure out, you know, what I was going to do, and figure out. I was young, you know, and I was really active in sports. So after that, I had to just do a lot of physical therapy. I was in the hospital, and